Welcome to the Jamaican Diaspora Live Line with your host, Dervan Malcolm.
In tribute to Jamaican Diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go, shine.
It is Saturday, the 13th of July, 2024, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us here on the Jamaican Diaspora live online on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and welcome to this week's edition of the Jamaican Diaspora live online. We came across a combination of stories involving, and that happened just yesterday, involving 3 women of Jamaican descent, 3 outstanding women. British-born of Jamaican parents, Professor Shirley Thompson, OBE, and she was featured yesterday, the 11th, 2 days ago. Time is flying by. The 11th of July on BBC Radio 4 with her daughter, Abigail Kelly, classically trained singer who stars in a one-woman opera, Women of the Windrush. And we want to play this feature for you. It's taken from BBC Radio 4. It's called Woman's Hour, and it features, I can't say it was done intentionally or deliberately, but it features 3 women of Jamaican descent. And so we want to play that. We want to start off on today's edition of the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online.
BBC Sounds, music, radio, podcasts. Hello, I'm Anita Rani, and welcome to Woman's Hour from BBC Radio 4. Good morning, and welcome to the programme. There's a lot of competitions going on out there, you may have noticed. 2-1, that'll do, thank you very much. But today on Woman's Hour, we are discussing friendship. How you rank your friends, and where do you think you sit in their rankings? Maybe you thought you were right up there in the elite inner circle, and then you were sighted out of a big day that made you realise the feeling wasn't mutual. Or someone you didn't think you were that close to came to you in an hour of need, or confided in you, or treats you like their best mate, even though you don't feel the same way. How do you react to that? And can friends go higher or lower in your ranking? Surely friendships can be made and cemented at different times in your life. In your world, can they come as easily as they can go? So think about your friendship group and give me the details. Send me a dramatic friendship story from any era in your life. Later, I'll be discussing medium friends. These are the people who aren't quite up there as your besties, but who are more than casual acquaintances. What does it mean to be a medium friend? We'll be finding out. Ultimately, what are friendships all about? Get involved in the programme. I would love to hear from you today. The text number, as usual, is 84844. You can also email me via our website, or you can contact me on WhatsApp. It's 03700 100 444. Also on the programme, we glance across the Atlantic to see how Kamala Harris is placed should Joe Biden step away from the presidential race, and a real treat today. Opera singer Abigail Kelly and Dr. Shirley Thompson, OBE, composer of Women of the Windrush, will be here, and there will be live music. That text number, once again, if you would like to get in touch with me, is 84844. But I'd like to open today's programme by naming the 3 women who lost their lives on Tuesday: Carol, Louise, and Hannah Hunt. They were the wife and daughters of BBC commentator John Hunt. Yesterday afternoon, a suspect was found following a full-scale search. Herefordshire police have said Tuesday's attack was targeted and carried out with a crossbow as well as possibly other weapons. I'm joined now by BBC correspondent Martine Coxall, who is at the scene in Bushey in Hertfordshire. Can you bring us up to date with the latest, please, Martine?
Yes, of course, Anita. I'm standing at the entrance to Ashland Close, which is where the Hunt family live, and overnight people have been bringing floral tributes to Carol, Louise and Hannah. A little later, at about 11 o'clock at a local church here in Bushey in Hertfordshire, there will be a vigil to remember the three women who have died, and also to offer their support to John Hunt, who, of course, as we know, is a member of the racing broadcasting community. And that community, too, paying tribute to the family in the form of a minute's silence, and also jockeys at different race courses today wearing black armbands as a mark of respect. In terms of the investigation, there is still a cordon across the end of the cul-de-sac, noticeable police presence as you would expect, and that's because they want to offer reassurance to this community who are trying to wrap their minds around what has happened here, and also to continue with the gathering of forensic evidence. We are expecting an update from Hertfordshire Police in the next hour or so. I think we're expecting being treated for injuries that were sustained yesterday. No shots were fired, though, by the police as part of that manhunt, which ended with his detention in a cemetery in Enfield in North London.
What more can you tell us about the three victims?
Everyone you speak to cannot say kinder things about Carol, Louise and Hannah. The community around here just said they were the nicest family. They were kind and gentle and always had time for everybody. They're held in immensely high regard. I was talking to the owner of a local cafe this morning and some of his customers who are disbelieving, of course, as you would be. Who would ever expect something so brutal to happen anywhere, but exactly in a quiet community like this? Louise ran her own dog grooming business, so her customers have been paying tribute to her. And Hannah was a beauty therapist as well, and the companies that she worked for and the clients that she had are really very, very troubled and traumatised by what they're hearing, and like everybody, offering their condolences to John and the rest of the Hunt family.
There's been widespread public reaction to this. What's been said?
Well, there are other comments being made, aren't there, about how, once again, this is women who have died, women who've been killed in their own home. And the word domestic is used, and your home is supposed to be a safe place. And yes, on Tuesday night, this home was not safe for Carol, Louise and Hannah. And the statistics are shocking, aren't they? For about the last 20 years, it's been consistent that a woman is killed by a man in the UK every 3 days. And it's more likely that when an incident like that happens, the woman concerned will know the person who has attacked her. The new Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, she's expressed shock that this has happened. And during the election campaign, she said that violence against women and girls needs to be treated as a national emergency. And here she is, less than a week, just over a week into her job. She has now got to address for the nation what's happening in terms of this violence that is meted out against women on an almost daily basis.
Thank you, Martine. So there's just to recap, there's a vigil planned for 11 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, there's a vigil at 11 o'clock. It's open to everyone of all faiths and no faiths at all. They're trying to respect the privacy of the family, but they also want to offer support. And it's if people wish to attend, it's the Church of St James and St Paul on the High Street in Bushey. Everybody is very welcome indeed to attend. The other thing that I would add is that the issue, Anita, of the access to crossbows is being looked at with some urgency by the government. The Security Minister, Dan Jarvis, has been talking about that to the BBC today, saying that this is now a real priority for the Home Secretary. It is not illegal to possess
crossbow. You can buy them relatively easily. It is against the law to possess them in public. And as we know that a crossbow is said to have been in part of this attack and these killings, and they are a lethal weapon. The previous government, before the general election, was calling for evidence as to whether they needed to change the law about how accessible a crossbow was, and whether there needs to be tougher regulation to do with licensing like there is with firearms. But they hadn't gone any further than that. But it's clearly going to be something that this new government is going to want to address.
Martine, thank you for speaking to me this morning. I'm sure we will be returning to this story. 84844 is the number to text. Now, the Department for Work and Pensions has just published statistics on the number of people affected by the so-called two-child benefit cap, which restricts child tax benefit and universal credit to the first two children in most households. There was a total of 1.3 million children living in a universal credit household and 270,000 children living in a child tax credit household, a total of 1.6 million children that was not receiving a child element or amount for at least one child due to being affected by this policy. There is an increase from 1.5 million last year. Some campaigners have called the cap the biggest driver of the rise in child poverty in the UK and are demanding the new Labour government scrap it immediately. Keir Starmer's government says it's committed to an ambitious and bold child poverty reduction strategy, but the Labour Party didn't promise to scrap it in their election manifesto. Starmer said it's been a difficult choice, but insisted his party could not make unfunded promises. Hannah Miller is our BBC political correspondent and joins me now. Hannah, morning. Just briefly, just remind us what the two-child benefit cap is and how it works.
Morning, Anita. Yeah, well, the cap essentially prevents parents from claiming child tax credit or universal credit for more than two children. It was introduced in 2017 when it came into effect by the then Chancellor George Osborne. It was his idea, essentially as a way of trying to save money from the welfare bill, but campaigners and some of those who you've mentioned already suggest it disproportionately affects people at the lower end of the earnings, people in poorer households. So there's already a kind of the beginnings of a campaign, and some Labour MPs newly elected just last week calling on the Labour government now to lift the cap so that families would get the benefits for all of the children that they have.
I mentioned a few of the statistics in the opener there, but it's the Department for Work and Pensions. They've released figures half an hour ago. Can you talk us through some of them?
Yeah, so they have 1.6 million children overall across the country not receiving a child element of the benefits, essentially. So 1.6 million children affected by this policy. That's in about 24,000 households who had a third child after April 2017 when this was introduced. 24,000 have an exception because there are certain reasons why, say, you have a third child through having twins, or perhaps the child has been adopted. There are some exceptions, but across the country it is 370,000 households affected by this overall.
Thank you, Hannah. Earlier I spoke to a woman called Olympia about her experience with the two-child cap benefit.
We have 3 children. I'm aware that it was mine and my husband's choice to have children. The cap affects us because we're getting the money for the 2 children, but spreading it between the 3. My husband works in retail distribution, and I work for a not-for-profit organisation helping children and families. We work every hour we can. So I work days and my husband works nights. I come in at 8:30 at night. My husband leaves at 9 o'clock at night. It's like a hello, morning, good night, see you later, bye.
I'm going to find out about the real world impact of your income and how it's affecting your family of 5. But before you do, I'm just really interested in the fact that you instantly said, we have 3 children. I know it was my choice. Do you feel like you have to justify?
Yeah, because I'm very aware that people would be like, well, it was your choice to have more than 2 children. I get that. It was my choice. But when we're asking for this cap to be got rid of or scrapped or whatever, we're not asking for, right, we want £1 million each child, and we're not asking for that.
So what would make a difference?
Literally,
How much would make a difference to you?
so for my family personally, my daughter goes up to year 3 next year, so I have to pay for her school meals.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online on Power 106 FM. We initially got a recording of the story with respect to, or the stories with respect to the Jamaican women and their impact on Jamaica and the rest of the world. And so those are still to come. We have Abigail Kelly and her mom, Shirley Thompson, and Kamala Harris. You'll find that the stories sort of gives us an insight into families in the UK, as you heard. And there's more to come, but more that is pretty much closer to the story of the Jamaican composer Shirley Thompson and her daughter, and also the story involving Kamala Harris. So we thought we'd share that this morning. For starters, we'll come back in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
17 minutes past 6 o'clock in the morning here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it's 4:17 a.m. in Los Angeles, California.
This message is brought to you by the Jamaica Environment Trust.
We have a right to a healthy environment. So don't break our limit. Anybody who pollute cause big problem. Don't just watch it, you have to report them.
We need clean air to breathe, good healthy food to eat, grown clean and naturally. We have to take responsibility.
Excessive deforestation, burning garbage, dust and noise creation is an unlawful violation. We have to practice conservation. We have a right to a healthy environment. And the law, so don't break our limit. If you have an issue, make a complaint. Let's work together to protect Jamaica. We have a right to a healthy environment. And the law, so don't break our limit. Have to do we part to keep the place clean and take care of our island scene.
We all have a right to a healthy and clean environment. Report any issues to the authorities if you feel your rights have been breached. Call the Jamaican Environment Trust for more information.
In tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And still to come, we'll hear from English composer, conductor, and violinist of Jamaican descent, Professor Shirley Thompson, plus her daughter, Abigail Kelly. And we'll hear the story that featured Kamala Harris as well. Let's listen.
So it's £12 something a week. Even half of that, £5, that would ease a lot. That would mean £5 extra a week. It would mean that I don't have to pay the full £12. It would mean I could pay like £7. But we're not asking for millions. I'm very aware that then there are millions of families, and that would increase the budget.
But what we're interested in hearing, Olympia, is you're like, no, it's exactly what you're telling us. The real impact of the benefit cap. So what is it that you're missing out on? And tell us a bit about the moments where you struggle the most.
My son has never had a new school jumper. because we know that he will always fit in my daughters. I'd love to buy him new school jumpers, and we shouldn't be in that position. Like I say, we both work full time. We cannot physically work any more hours than we do.
I mean, school jumpers, absolutely uniform. Kids need new uniforms because they get through them. But what about something as basic as putting food on the table?
So there has been instances, especially when it gets to the end of the month, where we've had to improvise and be like, oh, I've gone down, there's no cereal, there's no nothing. So it's like, oh, there's a tin of beans to go between 3 children. And that's it. Like, sometimes it's even the point of, I know that they're going to get a snack at school. So, oh, quick, we're late, we have to go. Knowing that they are going to get that snack at school, because we can't have breakfast on the table. And that is the, sorry.
It's okay.
As a mum, I feel like I've failed.
But you haven't failed.
It's something so simple as putting breakfast on the table. Like, that's the bare minimum.
What would you like the government to do?
Like I said, we're not asking for millions. We're just asking for, like, a little bit. What, in my eyes, what makes my first 2 children more important than my third? That's what it comes to. Like, who decides out of my 3 children which 2 get the money? Like, I don't, like I said, we're not asking for millions. We're not, it's just hard.
Yeah. What would you like to see the government do? What would you like to see happen?
Either scraps the 2 children cap, or put in a provision where something as basic as breakfast, like, so there is a breakfast club at school, but that costs money. Something like, do you know what, fund it for something.
Something as basic as breakfast is a given.
Yeah. Because we can do without, like, granted it crushed me when all our friends are going places, but we can make our children happy by coming up with things in the house. We can make do with the school jumpers. The one thing that I do that I'm really grateful is my kids haven't got a clue. My kids don't know any difference. They get loved, they laugh, they joke, they play, everything. But it's breakfast. But it's something as simple as a bowl of cereal, a slice of toast, something.
And I was speaking to Olympia about her experience of the 2-child benefit cap earlier this morning. Well, Sarah Ogilvie is Director of Policy, Rights and Advocacy at the Child Poverty Action Group, and she joins me now. Welcome to the studio, Sarah. How typical is Olympia's experience?
We surveyed over 500 parents who are subject to the 2-child limit, and it is heartbreaking, but this is absolutely typical of the experience of families who are subject to that limit. Families told us that they can't meet the basic needs of their children, so that means parents and kids going hungry sometimes, they can't buy clothes. We heard one mum who said that she had to go back to work 4 months after having her baby. She had to go back to work because she couldn't afford to pay for everything they needed otherwise. The impact that this policy is having on families is devastating and catastrophic, and it is responsible for the driving number of children who are living in poverty in the UK.
And according to the new statistics that have come out just this morning at 9:30, the figures have gone up.
I mean,
do the figures surprise you?
It's shocking, I think, when you think about the reality of life for those kids in the UK, but it's not really surprising to me. We have known for some time that this was the impact that the policy was going to have on children. Government knows that is the impact the policy is having on children. There is basically no way to stop child poverty from rising, let alone to reduce it, unless we get rid of this policy.
What do you get? What are the figures?
So it varies a little bit, but normally for every child, you get around 3,500 a year. And that, as you have heard, is the difference between kids being able to have their breakfast or not. It is the difference between, we heard one child isn't able to get swimming lessons, even though they live by the sea. It's sometimes about an ice cream on a sunny day, kids not going on holidays. It is ranging from, the day-to-day things, but right through to things like the levels of infant mortality in areas where deprivation is higher. it's significantly worse. It's devastating life and death stuff as well as the quality of life.
Because Olympia's story, because we chatted for a little bit longer, both her and husband are in full-time work, and he works nights and she works days, so they couldn't physically do any more work to earn money. If this policy was changed, what do you estimate families would be able to claim extra?
So if the policy was scrapped overnight, then for your third child, you would be able to get that extra $3,500 a year. And actually, the majority of families who are subject to the limit have 3 children. So that would just be the difference for families. As you say, the majority of families who are subject to the policy are in work. There's not a lot that they can do otherwise. But, they can't afford childcare. They can't afford to pay their mortgages. And then if you think about the longer consequences of child poverty as well, it's not, it's horrible to think of the impact it has on kids, but then it affects educational outcomes. Often if you grow up in poverty, you risk having poorer health when you grow up. Your life expectancy will be shorter. And so for children, for then as we grow up into adults, and then for society as a whole, the new government has committed to a bold and ambitious child poverty strategy, which really does fill me with hope, because it has been a very difficult time for children and families living in poverty over the past couple of years.
But what about the previous government's choice to do it? You have got to claw back money somewhere, and this is where they chose to do it.
I mean, what I would say is that we know that the policy didn't actually have an impact on the number of children that families have. So the government's aim in that wasn't met. Also, this is about kids. And, if you are going to draw dividing lines, if you are going to have to make difficult decisions, do you make them about the poorest kids in society? I'm not sure that you should. But also, we know, even in very practical terms, it costs around $40 billion to public services to deal with the consequences of child poverty. So you might as well spend that money at the start rather than at the end.
Well, we've had a statement from the Work and Pensions Secretary of State, Liz Kendall MP, saying too many children are growing up in poverty, and this is a stain on our society. We will work to give every child the best start in life by delivering our manifesto commitment to implement an ambitious strategy to reduce child poverty. I will hold critical meetings with charities and experts next week to get this urgent work underway. What's your reaction to that?
I mean, I'm really looking forward to those conversations. And let's be honest, the most cost-effective way to reduce child poverty is to scrap the 2-child limit. It would cost £1.7 billion a year. It would lift 300 kids out of poverty straight away, and you would reduce what's called the depth of poverty for around 700,000 more kids. So in those conversations, I'm really looking forward to hearing the plans, but also we will be pushing them to do this as quickly as they possibly can.
Hannah, I'm going to bring you back in, because what is Labour's position on the 2-child benefit cap? What do we know? Why are they divided over this issue?
I mean, it's been quite an interesting thing to watch this develop, because during the election campaign, Keir Starmer said that lifting the cap was the number one thing that he'd like to do, but then went on to say that he couldn't necessarily afford to. And Olympia mentioned free breakfast clubs. The Labour Party do have a policy to introduce free breakfast clubs in every primary school, which is one of the measures I imagine that they would say kind of will feed into this child poverty strategy that they keep talking about. But this is something that Labour MPs, frankly, haven't liked the 2-child cap for really quite a long time. I remember speaking to some of them, last year in the middle, at that point, keeping their powder dry and saying, well, there's no point being divided on this until we get into government. And now that they are in government, some of them who feel strongly about it really do have the chance to try and do something about it. But of course, the Labour Party has a huge majority in Parliament. Keir Starmer has, as I say, made a point of saying, well, yes, this is something I'd like to do, but I can't afford to. It's far from clear that with a huge majority, he will feel any need necessarily to change that position at the moment. But I think it would be wrong to say that they're blind to it as a problem. They're clearly not. They're making a choice about what is affordable and what they say isn't.
Thank you, both of you, for talking to me about that. Sarah Ogilvie, Child Poverty Action Group Director of Policy, Rights and Advocacy, and BBC correspondent Hannah Miller. And we also heard from Mother of Three.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online on Power 106 FM. And once again, just repeating, it might have seemed disconnected, but it's not, because it ties about 3 or 4 different subject matters together. And the key one, there was this story of, let's just say, the tragedy that happened, and coming out of that, broadening the scope in terms of family, and the capping of a certain number of children per household, and child poverty, and related matters. But we also wanted to highlight, so we're not there yet, we're not done yet. We also wanted to highlight those Jamaican women, and we'll come back to that in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
6:31 in the morning here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it's 8:31 a.m. in Hamilton, Bermuda.
How much do you know about spices and the impact they have on your everyday life? Join us every first and third Thursday during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie at 6:18 a.m. for Spice of Jamaica. We'll give you tips, tidbits, and interviews about the revitalization and sustainability of the Jamaican spices, including ginger, turmeric, and pimento.
Okay,
That's Spice of Jamaica every first and third Thursday at 6:18 a.m. during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM. Spice of Jamaica is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture Food for Progress Jamaica Spices Project. In tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go, shine.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online on Power 106 FM. And we're continuing to play the recording out of BBC 4. And we'll tell you more once we have played or started playing the recordings. Let's listen.
And we also heard from Mother of Three, Olympia. Thank you. Text number is 84844. I'm going to read out some of your messages. Lots of you getting in touch because we're going to be talking about middle friends a little bit later. So we're talking about friendship leagues this morning. So from Caroline, we've had, I lost my very special daughter, Lily, in April. She was only 27. She was in hospital for 6 weeks, and despite all the efforts of the wonderful ICU staff, they couldn't save her. Losing a child, however old, is just so terrible. I now know who my true friends are. Some old friends have barely been in touch. Others, who I've not seen for years, have come back into my life. But the shining star has been the new friend who I made through Lily's hospital admission, one of the ICU nurses. She has continued to keep in touch and has really helped me, although sometimes a painful reminder of Lily. She's so empathetic. I feel I've made a lifelong friend who's taught me to concentrate on the friends and family who really do have time for you and you need that support. 84844. Now, for something really special. Women of the Windrush is an opera which portrays the stories of women who travelled to the UK from the West Indies between the 1940s and 1960s. It's been restaged as part of the Rediscover Festival from Streetwise Opera, which celebrates the impact of African and Caribbean heritage on contemporary British culture. With me now, I'm delighted to say, is the festival's director and soprano opera singer Abigail Kelly, and Dr. Shirley Thompson, MBE, composer of Women of Windrush, which is amongst many of her compositions for opera, orchestra, stage, ballet, including music for the coronation of King Charles III. It is delightful to have you both.
Thank you so much for having us.
Shirley, for those who haven't seen it, tell us a bit more. What can people expect to see and hear from Women of Windrush?
Thank you. Well, it's a mixture, an integration of archive film, a bit of dance, interviews that were made back in 30 years ago of persons, women who arrived to settle in England in the 1950s and 1960s. These women are range in what they do: a concert pianist, a woman who comes over to join her husband, who's a cricketer, a woman who comes to take up her training as a nurse, and another woman who comes to Nottingham to speak to marry her fiance. So it's a range of women, and they speak very candidly about what it was like to settle in the UK, in different parts of the country, during the 1950s and 60s. And they're very funny, they're very engaging, and I woven around this the musical aspect, which is embodied in The Windrush Woman, which is in this case Adele Kelly, who plays the Windrush Woman, and she has a character's name. All of that is interspersed through the opera.
How magical. We're going to, I'm very excited, and you should all be too listening, because Abigail, you're going to be singing something from it in a moment. What's it like to sing this opera? You're on a stage for the whole time with, as she's just described, the backdrop of the pictures of the women from the Windrush generation behind you. What's it like to stand there and sing this? Tell us about your role in it.
Well, so I sort of play a dual role of a woman who is in the present, who is discovering items from the past, and then through that, in fact, transforming during the opera to become one of those women from the past. So it's a wonderful experience, actually inhabiting those two parts of history. And it's quite an intense experience being on stage all by yourself for about an hour singing non-stop. But yeah, I won a challenge that I absolutely relish.
So how do you get through it? Obviously, it's a challenge because it's physically it's very demanding. But what about the sort of the emotional aspects of what you're actually doing as a Black woman there standing, performing this story?
Oh, it's amazing, because I do feel like there's, you know, my ancestry, my background, all of my relatives who've been through the same sort of thing are standing there with me as well and getting me through this performance. In fact, I've got a picture of my aunts and grandmothers that I have a little bit of a look at during the performance. So that really brings it into focus for me, the personal side of the performance too.
Where did this idea come from, Shirley?
Oh, big question. I was making films for the BBC back in the early 90s, actually. I'm a filmmaker.
So you're a pioneer in many, many, many different lanes there. Very good.
Thank you. And I got the opportunity to make a film about the Windrush. Well, I decided to make a film about my parents' generation, because I was making comparable documentaries and I wasn't seeing any images of myself, on television, and neither was this period in history being documented. So I thought here's a great opportunity. So in 1991, I won a grant from the Arts Council to make this film, and decided that I would interview my mother, who the film is really central to, and various. I wanted to get a variety of characters to represent several demographics of persons that arrived here. So I think interviewing somebody such as Maxine Franklin, who is a concert pianist, that came over here in the 60s and was studying at the Royal College of Music, has always becomes a surprise to persons who do not realise that we've had a huge tradition of persons coming from the Caribbean and Africa for centuries. So really, the Windrush generation was not a new thing in terms of the settlement of African and Caribbean persons, but this was a particular period to be documented.
Stories that aren't told.
Absolutely, that's what I wanted to do. Stories not told, and I've written a whole series of these stories that have not been told in several operas that I've written.
And am I right thinking, Abigail, that your mother really empowered you to make sure that you were aware of these stories whilst you were growing up?
Absolutely. So my parents did a fantastic job at always showing me what the Caribbean or the black equivalent was. So I, for a time, was absolutely obsessed with Marilyn Monroe, as I think a lot of young kids might be. You know, they look back at the past and they're like, oh gosh, the red lips, this, that, and the other. But my mother was always there saying, well, what about Dorothy Dandridge? Here is this person who is, you know, doing the same thing, same period of time. So yeah, my mom was very much a part of just making sure that I saw the women that looked like me doing the things that I was into, and giving me those opportunities to listen to those, you know, black voices, those opera singers like Riri Grist and like Jessie Norman. Yeah.
And now you want to do the same. You want opera to include stronger and empowered roles for women.
Absolutely.
How do you go about that? I mean, you obviously need people to write them for you, but thank you very much, Shirley. But how do you go about that?
I think it's really important to go back to kind of the source. I think when we start to empower, say, a new generation of opera goers to create their own stories, and that's exactly what we're doing with the Rediscover Festival. We are utilizing the past, using the present, being inspired by composers of, you know, potentially different heritages from other peoples, and we are allowing people to go, right, so I could actually write an opera about my life and my culture. I could write an opera that has a strong female character. I could write an opera about children. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's going back to the source and making sure that kids, who are the new operatic audience and who are the new set of composers, have that ability to go, right, yeah, I can write what I want to write.
What's it like working together?
Oh, it's fun. I'm usually, you know, there counting all of the many notes that Shirley's written down on a piece of paper.
Does she need lots of notes? She doesn't need notes, surely. How is it, Shirley, working with Abigail?
Yeah, well, what's great about Abigail is that she does get what I do, and conceptually, I started this whole idea of empowering women opera singers, because with my PhD, I started a series called Heroines of Opera, which was taking away the idea of the femme fatale, which you'll see with Carmen and Tosca and all these characters. And I was looking for strong female characters, and I wasn't finding any. They all died, or they all were poisoned or something. So I started this whole idea of having strong female characters with my series, Heroines of Opera, that includes the woman who refused to dance, Dido Elizabeth Bell, the Women of the Windrush, all strong, Nanny of the Maroons. So Abigail's had a lot to build on, because I started this whole idea of empowering, changing the whole narrative around opera and how certainly women are perceived in it.
And you're doing it. Both of you are actually doing it. It's very good to see. You mentioned that you interviewed your mother way back when you were starting out in this project.
That's right.
She a huge inspiration for you?
She is my inspiration.
Tell us, we need to name check.
Oh, Hyacinth Evadne Thompson. She's a nurse and tiny woman, but so full of vigor and strength, and highly intelligent and very powerful, although very quiet, and has inspired so many people with her philanthropy, her work ethic, her beauty. She's actually the figure that we use to promote the opera Women of the Windrush.
Is that under photograph? Yes, it's all absolutely gorgeous in this beautiful dress. At some point, we'll do a version of Women of the Windrush where I get to wear that dress.
Oh, yes. I'm sure it will come around. Please, can you tell us about the piece you're going to be performing for us, Abigail?
Sure. Well, this is called Psalm to the Windrush, and it's actually the piece that opens the entire opera. And you'll hear from the get-go. It's really rousing. It's an ode to all of those brave people that made that journey, decided to change their lives so drastically, and how they worked hard, but they always felt held by a higher power, by God, by their faith, that things would work out for them in this new land.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
15 minutes to 7 o'clock in the morning here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it's 1:45 in the afternoon in London, England.
Tune into Power 106 FM for Power and Glory every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Power and Glory with extraordinary Alpha Mackenzie.
No.
Join us for the inspired word and reflections, as well as soul-stirring gospel music every Sunday with Alpha Mackenzie from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Power and Glory on Power 106 FM, the Power 106 FM app, One Spot Media, at go-jamaica.com.
Wherever you go, shine. In tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go, shine.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on the Jamaican Diaspora live online on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and earlier we shared with you the recordings that we got from BBC 4, which featured 3 Jamaican women, or 3 women of Jamaican descent. Professor Shirley Thompson, composer, and quite a list. She is an English composer, conductor, and violinist of Jamaican descent. Her output as a composer encompasses symphonies, ballets, operas, concertos, and other works for ensembles, as well as music for TV, film, and theater. And you can Google Shirley Thompson, composer, and read more. But she's one of the guests who featured in that interview a couple of days ago. And her daughter is also involved. Her daughter is one of the women, or the woman of the Windrush Opera, and that is Abigail Kelly. And then, of course, there's the story. If we'll have enough time to get to it, I think we will. A story which involved Kamala Harris, who of course is also of Jamaican descent. So let's take the rest of the tape, please.
Things would work out for them, and not too many generations later, 2 amazing women would be sitting here almost telling me about this wonderful opera. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And Abigail Kelly and Dr. Shirley Thompson, thank you for coming in to talk to me about women of the Windrush. Thank you. Lots of you get in touch about friendships. Someone said, my partner and I had what we thought would be a caring, loving relationship with another couple. We listened to their problems, helped them whenever we could. They'd been invited to our daughter's wedding for over a year, but 4 days before, they pulled out, citing their family priorities. It shocked, hurt, and angered us. We went from an intimate contact to nothing overnight. That shock has made us reevaluate all our friendships. A truly profound shift in our approach to, are they friends or just acquaintances? 84844. Now, it was another difficult day yesterday for President Biden's presidential election campaign, as further calls came for him to step down. Nancy Pelosi, a member of the Democratic Party and former Speaker of the House of Representatives, said on MSNBC News Channel that time is running out, but I want him to do whatever he decides to do, rather than declaring Biden should stay in. And George Clooney, a high-profile Biden supporter and fundraiser, asked Biden to leave the race.
As calls grow louder for the president to step aside, some high-profile Democrats are unifying behind his vice president, 59-year-old Kamala Harris, as the natural candidate to replace him. Well, joining me now from Boston to discuss Kamala Harris's prospects is Shannon Felton-Spence, communications and political strategist at Harvard Kennedy School's Belfer Center in Boston. A very good early morning to you, and welcome to Woman's Hour, Shannon. How significant was Nancy Pelosi's comment yesterday? What can we read into it?
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi, I mean, she immediately tried to walk back the comment, but the most significant thing is that she is the most senior Democrat to come out. So there are sort of only a handful of Democrats that names have been tossed out as it would be a very serious signal if they said something publicly about Joe Biden's viability as a candidate. And Nancy Pelosi sort of did that yesterday. What she said was, I want him to do what he decides. I will back him either way, but he needs to decide in the next couple of days because time is running out.
Yeah.
And what that sort of allowed to happen was she kicked the door open for providing sort of Nancy Pelosi type cover to other Democrats that are currently sitting in government if they wanted to come forward more publicly, because it has been a slow trickle. But nobody very, very senior has said anything yet until yesterday. So it was definitely a turning point in the saga.
So talk us through what would happen if Biden pulled out of the presidential election. How likely is it that Kamala would become the Democratic Party's presidential candidate?
So those are two very different questions. Yeah. I'm not sure we know exactly how it would go down if he did make that decision. It is absolutely true that the only person that can make the decision is the president himself. And so in the last several weeks, that's sort of been the difficulty. And he has been the one who is strongly saying that I'm still in the race. And we've heard that people around him are trying to persuade him that might not be the best choice. But it's absolutely right that he has to be the one to make the decision. Nobody can force him out. So that's that.
Yeah. Has Kamala Harris said anything about President Biden's fitness for office? Has she made a comment?
Listen, it's her boss, so she's going to stand behind him. And if there's one thing that we know about the Democrats in the U.S., it's that they get in line. And this is the president. He's the most powerful man in the world. And so it takes a lot of courage and bravery to come out and say anything. And no, Kamala Harris has not, other than being very, very strong in his camp that he is fit for office and they can win this race. But I think that you're right. I mean, but we're not sure how this would go down if he were to decide that he wasn't the best candidate to win the race. But I am of the opinion that the answer is right in front of him, which is Vice President Harris.
Does she have support? Does she have the support? I mean, she's the Democrats' leading voice on various things like abortion rights and women's reproductive rights. Do you think that's going to win her more support? Is she?
Listen, it's very interesting. She is not all that popular, but she's not popular with people that wouldn't vote for her anyways, right? So I think that there's an avenue there for her to work with. And also, what Americans are just longing for and begging for is some new options. And so I think that she's extremely intelligent. They've been rolling her out more in the last couple of weeks after the debate, because I think any person that sort of knows if they need to replace him, she's the most obvious choice. So they've been giving her a bigger platform and a bigger presence in the past 2 weeks. But also, she's really running with that. She is intelligent. She is vibrant. She is. I'm saying all of these sort of words that describe somebody that is not very, very old, but no, she's a perfect person to step into that role. And she's already the vice president. She's already on the ticket. So anybody that is voting for President Biden is already voting for Vice President Harris as a number 2.
Could she beat Trump though?
Listen, I think she could. And here's why. It would excite the base. It would excite the Democrats, and it would probably pull over some independents. So while many of us are sitting here going, God, these are my 2 options. These were my options 4 years ago. Who's going to be able to do the job for the next 4 years after this? I think, really inserting some energy and some new voices into this race, even though it's a familiar voice, is a really obvious choice and would really energize the Democratic voter base. And I think she could beat him. Plus, listen, she is smart. She's a former prosecutor. She is very, very quick. And she would eat Trump alive in a debate.
Do you think she's been underestimated somewhat because she's a woman of color?
Do I think she's been underestimated? Probably, yes. It's also, VP is a very tough role in America. It doesn't have a very clear portfolio. It's largely ceremonial. And so she has really been in the wings. The president really has the full spotlight. So I'm not even sure we've seen her to her full potential. But yes, I mean, definitely, I'm sure she has been underestimated because she's a woman and because she's a woman of color.
And popularity with young voters, does she have that?
You know, it's hard to tell. I think that people are starting to get excited about the idea of somebody new. She's been very, very strong on abortion and reproductive rights. She really stepped into her own there. She had a couple of other policy portfolios early on that she fumbled a little bit. But reproductive rights and abortion is really going to drive this election. It is what makes people show up at the voting booth and tick the box for Democrats. And, you know, she has really stepped into that role. So I think that she's energized certain demographics across the country. And I think they would show up for her.
We'll leave it with watch this space. And maybe we'll talk to you
watch
again.
this space. Exactly.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, Shannon Felton Spence. 84844 is the number to text. Now, if our next story was an episode from a certain US sitcom, it would be called The One with the Medium Friend. What is a medium friend, I hear you ask? Well, a recent article in the New York Times described them as not our besties, but more than just acquaintances. You may share a history with them because you work together, or you may, just have a laugh every time you meet, but for some reason you only hold them at arm's length. So what does it say about us that we put people in such categories? And how have you felt when the person you regarded as your bestie sees you just as a middling, all right, average mate? Well, with me to discuss this is Dr. Susan McDougall, a social anthropologist at Oxford University, and Shazia Mirza, comedian and writer. I'm going to come to you first, Susan. What do you think about this term, medium friends?
I get quite a kick out of it. To me, it really, I think if we think about friendship historically, the medium friend is probably quite common, right? We would have looked to our friends to be an important part of our social network, one of the ways we build community, and we would kind of expect friendships to kind of grow closer and less close throughout the life course. So I think our interest in kind of medium friends as maybe a problem indicates a bit about how time poor we are, right? How we've become very sort of sensitive to our time resource. And also maybe geographically dispersed. There's a lot of people who are in this friends category but aren't around to be kind of providing material support in the way that we would, kind of historically think of friends serving us. So maybe there's kind of a new problem around what we do with this sort of medium category. That says to me there's a lot changing in our social life.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Now, Shazia, as a high-profile comedian, you've probably got tons of mates.
Well, as you know, Anita, I'm very popular. I have a lot of friends. I've got 3,000 on Facebook. I've got 147,000 on Instagram. And I get new requests every day. I have to turn people away and say, I'm sorry, I'm full. But a lot of these people I do talk to more than my family. They're always messaging me. So I could actually call them my friends. But as medium friends
what do you think about that?
I mean, they are friends who I maybe see once every 3 months, and that's great because I can really only take them in small doses.
Right, you don't have to name anybody, but give us properly.
Yeah, well, Brenda, my friend Brenda, I mean, she's great every 3 months. But the thing is, I mean, I don't talk to them about everything. It's kind of light-hearted, pizza, shopping, celebrities, my closest friends, who I've only got, say, 3 or 4 of, I mean, I speak to them about everything, life, death, parents, piles, everything. They are the closest ones. They have that privilege. But the thing is, I mean, you do have to have medium friends because you don't want heavy conversation all the time. You don't want deep all the time. You do need life light and fluffy. And I think medium friends are really good for that.
Susan, I understand that you're often seen as a medium friend because you're an expat. Because you're not
recorded on this. I really think that what is amazing about friendship, right, is that you don't have to pick. You don't have to have. I mean, I think we have the kind of example of romantic monogamous relationships where you kind of have to pick one person and be with them for your whole life and make this massive investment.
And we're going to leave it there. You got a little brata at the end there, as we say in Jamaica. But thank you very much. Thanks to BBC Channel 4. Thank you very much for that package and allowing us to take a couple of recordings from it. And that essentially featured Jamaicans, especially Jamaican women. There is more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
7 o'clock in the morning here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it is a minute past 7 o'clock.
Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. The 50-30-20 rule. Creating a budget can help you make confident decisions and enjoy peace of mind. A detailed budget,
That's
though,
France.
can be complex to manage. For one easy way to plan your spending, you may try using the 50-30-20 rule. It splits expenses into just 3 categories and also offers recommendations on how much money to use for each. The 50-30-20 rule recommends putting 50% of your money towards needs, 30% towards wants, and 20% towards savings. The savings category also includes money you will need to realize your future goals.
Wherever you go, in tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go, shine.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. As we get ready for our next guest, we once again acknowledge Shirley Joy Thompson, Professor Shirley Joy Thompson, OBE, English composer, conductor, and violinist of Jamaican descent, and one of those featured in that BBC4 story, which was published a couple of days ago. And her output as a composer encompasses symphonies, ballets, operas, concertos, and other works for ensembles, as well as music for TV, film, and theater. So you can Google Professor Shirley Thompson to learn more about this woman, outstanding woman of Jamaican heritage, Jamaican descent. So we're standing by to connect with France. We are getting ready for the Olympics in France, and we want to touch on that subject. And so we're looking forward to Edward Boucher Jr., Jamaican, living and working in France, and should be joining us soon. Shirley Thompson, as we said, was born in London, UK, of Jamaican parents. Her early musical experience included playing the violin in various youth symphony orchestras in London. Right now, though, it's time for us to hear from one we haven't heard from in a while. And that's because he has been busy, I would imagine. Mr. Edward Boucher Jr. Edward Boucher, how are you?
Bonjour, Monsieur Malcolm. Ça va très bien, et vous?
Bonjour, je suis très bien aussi.
Super.
Ça va?
Ça va, all is well.
Mhm. All right, so we hadn't checked in with you in a little while, and we thought of doing that this morning. And so we're delighted that you've been able to join us, Edward Boucher. And we want to, first of all, find out how, in general terms, how have you been doing, and the members of the community of Jamaicans living and working in France?
Well, we have been doing well, Dervan. Of course, there was a lot of anxiety because, Jamaica experienced Hurricane Beryl, and so a lot of the community members were without any form of information whatsoever as it relates to their family members. So there was a bit of anxiety, especially from those of us who are from Manchester and St. Elizabeth and those southern parishes. But we've started to get news from most of us. I spoke to my mother yesterday and things are getting back to normal, and so we've been reassured,
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying as an association at Jam in France to play our part. So we're trying to, even though we know things are difficult at the moment, given the various economic crises and inflation, but we're trying to see what we can do as a community to support Jamaica in this trying time. So we're hoping that we'll be able to contribute in a meaningful way. So in terms of the community, we're reassured, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. And what about life in France? Has there been any significant changes, laws, rules, actions of
Well, as
note?
you know, we had our parliamentary elections last week,
Mm-hmm.
and we haven't, well, we weren't able to elect a government, a clear government, so there's a lot of discussion taking place at the moment to form a new French government. So it's a bit of a political crisis and instability, just a few weeks, or we could say days now, ahead of the start of the Olympics. So things are a bit all over the place in France at the moment. However, we do expect to welcome the world at the end of this month. The opening ceremony of the Olympics is the 26th of July.
And is France ready, do you think, from what you have seen, read, experienced?
Well, I'm Jamaican, so I am a bit disappointed that there's not a lot of buzz here in terms of amongst the locals. A lot of French people are expected to leave the city. A lot of Parisians, which is normal at this time of the year. For the summer, Parisians tend to travel to the south of France where they have beaches, and Spain. So a lot of people are expected to leave. So I guess we'll start to feel the buzz of the Olympics when the tourists and the visitors and the fans start to arrive at the end of the month. But things are very calm at the moment. Things are a lot of preparations going on. A lot of new metro lines, metros like the trains, being extended, and some of the stations have been closed in the areas which we expect to be a lot of activities will take place in terms of competitions and things like that. So it's going to be a challenging time. Of course, for those of us living in Paris, we're going to need a QR code, as those who are visiting as well. You'll need a QR code, a bit like when we had COVID, to be able to move around the city, to visit the different locations and attend the different events. So you might want to bear that in mind as for people coming. I guess we'll have probably another discussion closer to the time, and I'll be able to give maybe information as to how to get that QR code and things like that. But general preparations are advanced, and we hope to be ready. There was talk of having some of the events in the River Seine. They were trying to get rid of some of the pollution from the River Seine to make it healthy enough for people to be able to swim in, but that hasn't been going well. So a lot of uncertainty around some of the events and activities, but we think that, usually these things usually come together.
One would think there would be some kind of a haste in sorting that out. Is it that what
they have been working at trying to get it ready, but I think the latest that they did, they found that there was quite a bit of chemicals and toxins in the river that made it unsafe for people to because it's not one of the lively rivers, and it's passing through the city tends to make it quite polluted, and so they've been trying to make, because one of the things that Paris wanted to do was to have the most eco-friendly Olympic Games in history, so they were trying to make a lot of their activities environmentally friendly, and some of them, will be challenging to pull off. But, I guess we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. But as far as the athletics track is concerned, that is ready, and the stadium is ready. So, of course, that's where Jamaica's interest will be, I suppose, more than in the other events.
Yes. Speaking of events, how's Jam Fete? You're still in your capacity as founder and CEO of Jam Fete, correct?
Right. And so with the association in France, we have decided to create a space for Jamaicans who are visiting France, and those who are here as well, and those who love Jamaican culture. So we are creating our own fan zone area, which we are calling the Jam Zone. And it will be a hub of different activities on a daily basis where Jamaicans can come on down and gather. Those who haven't got tickets, we can watch the races together. There'll be entertainment, there'll be performers and performances, and a number of interesting activities, actually. We start on the 31st of July. So we are going to be having a reggae concert with some of the artists, Jamaican artists who are living in Europe, for the most part in France. And that's followed by an after party. And then on the 1st, there is what we call the Dancehall Olympics. So a lot of the dancers here are going to be competing against each other for the crown, to see, who is the best dancer of dancehall in France. So that's going to be on the 1st, which is the Thursday. And there are activities every day. We have, for example, on the 5th, we'll be showing the film Sprinter, and we will be having the crew and some of the cast members are coming over. including Dale Elliott.
Coming over from?
Well, from Jamaica. They're coming
Okay.
from Jamaica specifically.
Okay.
So, and we'll be showing the film Printer for the first time in France.
All right. Hold one moment, please. One moment.
The new KFC Nuggets. Delicious, crispy, juicy, original recipe nuggets. With KFC Nuggets, you'll never settle for less. The time by KFC Nuggets is
15 minutes past 7 o'clock in the morning here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it's 8:15 p.m. in Beijing, China.
Tune in to Power 106 FM for the longest running religious calling program on Jamaican radio, The Prayer Line. Join Pastor Errol Hay and his team as they offer spiritual guidance and intercession grounded in biblical doctrine. Hear powerful testimonies from Jamaica and around the world. The Prayer Line, a source of support and inspiration in these trying times. That's The Prayer Line on Power 106 FM, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Join us.
You shall live, declare the word. Amen. And you shall be a living testimony. We are on the last side.
Wherever you go, in tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go. You need to know. Shine. Anything you want to be. You give me hope. Shine. Oh, shine. Shine.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on the Jamaican Diaspora live online on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. Our guest at this time is immediate past president, founder, and CEO of JAMFET and Association of Jamaican Nationals in France, JAM in France. I hope I got that bit right, Mr. Boucher.
Right, yes. So I was saying, can you hear me still?
Hearing you now, yes.
Okay, yeah. Right, so we're looking at having a number of activities in the jam zone, and I was saying that we have the crew and cast of the film Sprinter, which is based around athletics. And so they'll be coming to Paris, and we'll be screening that in the jam zone on the 5th, Monday the 5th of August. So what we'll be doing every evening, we start at 6 p.m. The jam zone starts at 6 p.m. There's a cultural activity, and then we go on right back to 5 o'clock. So those who are attending the races, they can come after and, enjoy some Jamaican food and music and just have a good time in the jam zone. Mm-hmm. And we'll be continuing from the So we're doing it from the 31st of July to the 10th of August. So that's 11 days of activities, all centered around Jamaica, and hopefully to create that patriotic, vibrant feeling that, you know, Jamaicans tend to enjoy and display throughout during the Olympics. So it's going to be a space for Jamaicans, both those who are here and those visiting and those who want to just enjoy the Olympics together. So we have information on Jam Fest and on Jam in France as well. And there's also a page which is Jam Zone Paris 2024 on Instagram, where people can get the different information about the different activities that happen. And I have to say, Dervan, that this is an initiative by the fans, by those of us who are here in France, financed by us. So at the moment, we haven't got any support from the corporate world or the political world. So we are reaching out to potential sponsors or partners or those who want to help to make sure that Brand Jamaica is shining and up and running during the Olympics. They can, reach out to us and offer us some financial and whatever support they can to make this possible. Because as I said, we are financing the Jamaicans in France who are doing it because we believe that as a community here in France, it is important that when the world comes for such a big event, such as the Olympics, that Jamaica needs to be, displayed and celebrated. So we're looking forward to the Jam Zone, and we're working very hard to get, things in place and to have a vibrant and creative program that will attract people to come out. Every evening there's a new theme. There's dancehall. There's competition, domino competition. We're showing the races. There's food. There is a bit of just about anything, really. And, we're really depending on people to come out and support. And those who would like to partner or help us can reach out to us and, let's make this one big Jamaican celebration in Paris.
Have you how successful have you been in terms of getting more Jamaican items on your shelves?
Not very successful, to be honest.
Okay.
Not very successful. We did have Julia and Tajul who came to France. We have had visits from Victoria Mutual, so they brought some of their services here. And a number of us were able to open bank accounts with Victoria Mutual. But we still have to travel to London or to Belgium to get products. We're really trying to find easier routes to get products here. But those are the two options that we'll be using. That is through London, but of course, that's a bit tricky since Brexit. And then there are a few shops in Belgium that give us supplies, but there's still scope for Jamaicans and Jamaican manufacturers to do business and to have their products here in France, because Brand Jamaica is growing, especially with the internet. The world is becoming smaller and smaller, so people have access to information and they travel a lot. And, there is that demand for Brand Jamaica. So we're always looking to see how we can facilitate companies and entrepreneurs coming to France and partnering with us. And we have a big following. We can provide the platform for them, to expose their products and develop their business here in France.
Mhm. And what can you tell us with respect to, well, the France-based Jamaicans? Are they planning anything, or did I miss it? Did I miss in terms of?
Well, outside of the Java zone that we are planning,
Mhm.
I figure that there are other initiatives being planned. The information is not readily available at the moment, but I do know that, for example, Puma will be having an event. Puma is expected to have an event where they will showcase Jamaican brand Jamaica, because Puma is one of Jamaica's chief sponsors. So they're expected to do something. I think it might be Independence Day here in France. I'm not quite sure. And I know that the tourist board is expected to have events and activities as well. But I think as we get closer to the day, then we'll get a clearer picture as to what the different activities will be.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure you will keep us posted, knowing you.
Definitely.
And we definitely will be looking forward for what is to come. But we know we can always count on you. Can always count on you, Edward Boucher, for keeping us updated on developments in your adopted country, France. And we want to wish you all the very best as you continue to play your part in that regard, and trust that all will be well for you and your family going forward. In the meantime,
Traveling for the Olympics, we are creating a space,
mm-hmm.
For information, to share information, and so we're creating a WhatsApp group. So if they're interested, they can reach out to us, whether via jaminfrance@gmail.com or jamfit@gmail.com or any of our social media platforms, really.
Mm-hmm.
And we will put them in connection with the other Jamaicans who are traveling and, try to share information, whether it's about events, activities, tasting tips, whatever. So we can welcome those who are coming here to France.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, they can reach out to us, jaminfrance@gmail.com or jamfit@gmail.com, and we'll give them the relevant and necessary information to make sure that their stay here is, smooth as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they need information about accommodation, restaurants, sites, whatever.
So all those who are planning to head to France, you'll have company. Jamaicans, more Jamaicans will pour into France. And so get ready for that. And you can always look out for Edward Boucher Jr. and other members of the French Jamaican contingent, whether those who will be in France for a particular duration, or those who might just be popping in and out or passing through. Just remember, you are not alone. You will have company in France. All right, let's take the break and come back with more in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
7:30 in the morning here at Broadcast House 32, Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which would make it what, 2:30? Is it 2:30 p.m. in Paris, France?
Join us every Sunday for Indian Talent on Parade with Dr. Winston Dolan from 5 to 6 p.m. Listen and learn all you need to know about the Indian community, culture, and music. That's Indian Talent on Parade with Dr. Winston Dolan, 5 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, right here on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
Power 106 FM, the digital sound, and now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band.
So, as we get ready to wrap the segment, Edward Boucher Jr., feel free to share with us your thoughts as we wrap.
So there are other activities. Just to say that we had a launch on the 21st of June, and that was really well attended. It was like a pre-Olympic launch. And then tomorrow we have a Jamaican brunch with Jamaican food on the menu. Because what we're doing, we're keeping Jamaica fresh in the minds of the French. So we're always putting out an event and an activity there, to give them a taste of Jamaica. So tomorrow we have a Jamaican brunch, and that's just ahead of the national celebrations, because tomorrow is July 14th, which is Bastille Day in France. So usually there's a big firework celebration at the Eiffel Tower. And so we'll be coming out to have some Jamaican food, and we'll go down and watch the fireworks. And, it's our way of celebrating Jamaica, but also being integrated at the same time. So, we don't just stay amongst ourselves. We try to get involved in the French society. We learn French. We do French activities as well, to really get the best of both worlds, if you will. And so we have a brunch tomorrow, and then it will be pretty much just preparations Zone. We're looking forward to the athletes who are coming. I get to understand that they're in Germany at the moment. They're in Stuttgart. There's a training camp in Stuttgart. So I think the Jamaican team is expected to be there this weekend. And also the 21st of July, hopefully I'll be able to go over to Stuttgart. A lot of other things are happening. There's a Julian Marley concert, which is on next week as well. So Jamaica is really happening in France. We're happening in France. We're just missing that corporate edge, our brands to come on board and to support us and to help us, to get more of Jamaicans out there. And so, as I said, the Jam Zone will be a crucial opportunity for those who are looking exposure in Europe or in France, to make sure that their brand is present in the Jam Zone, because we'll be having a lot of traffic, a lot of people will be passing through, and we know that they'll be wanting to try and to taste and to discover different products. And so, as we say, we're reaching out to the corporate world, even if they're not able to come here physically, if they're able to send us samples of their products, we'll gladly accept them and have them, have the public try and sample and taste as much of Jamaica as possible during the Olympics. So once again, an opportunity to partner with us through our association, Jam in France. And if people who are listening feel the urge, to get on the Jamaican and Brand Jamaica train in France, they can reach out to us and communicate with us, and we'll definitely engage them and see how best we can collaborate. So really looking forward to it, Dervan. Really looking forward to winning some medals and making this a memorable Olympic Games for not just the Jamaicans who are in France, but for those who will be watching back in Jamaica as well.
Indeed, you can almost taste the excitement already. It's quite palpable. Thank you. Thank you very much for giving us all the information we have received so far. I'm sure there's more to come, and we still have a few more days. How many days, Mr. Boucher?
So it starts on the 26th, so that's 13 days. We're 13 days away.
Okay.
So we're really about to turn on the ignition. Just about now.
Yes. Ramp it up.
That's right.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll be watching and listening and sharing as the days go by. But thank you very much for the time, the quality time you've spent with us on this morning's edition of the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Dervan. Merci beaucoup. Bonne journée.
À toi aussi. Bonne journée. Okay. Au revoir. And so we continue with more on the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online on Power 106 FM. Some excitement in Jamaica this evening, and we want to tell you about it in a moment. And this, one of the celebrated events of festival each year in Jamaica, is the festival song competition. And so that is going to happen this evening. And we are standing by to connect with Roy Rayon. and Frankie Campbell. And we'll hear from them in just a moment as we continue with more on the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online on Power 106 FM. And all right, so let's say hello, good morning, and welcome to musical genius par excellence, Frankie Campbell.
Morning. How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
All right. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to the big show tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. I robbed them of a day a while ago.
It's not just today, right? I've had enough change I'm ready. So it's definitely on for tomorrow.
Yes.
Of course, they'll put us back a week.
Mm-hmm.
So we're hoping with the help of people like you, we'll get the news around that definitely on for tomorrow. Louis said it. It's been a great show, Dervan. You know, overall, it's a good show.
Oh, absolutely.
You have been around with us for years. From your hot. At Calabar.
Hey, indeed.
Yeah, so we're on tomorrow at 6 o'clock, and it's a nice early time, and we should out there in 3 hours. It's a nice tight package. Putting on for our celebrating 40 years, maybe that.
Yes. Remarkable. 45.
45 years.
Yes.
It's time after the throne.
Yeah. 65, 45.
Right. So I've been rehearsing for the last couple of years. Actually, we started long ago, and then we had a break with we're back again this week. So it's a really tight and nice to put on a good show tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And let's hear from the man himself, somewhere continuing his preparations. Roy Ryan, are you there? How are you?
I am doing some housework.
I thought I was the only one who is a fan of housework. Yes. So how is it coming along? How are the preparations coming along, Roy Ryan?
Well, as best as it can, and trying to get us to that where we've been rehearsing, so we're ready. But you will never be 100% until the night of one stage and full on 160. To the audience and feeding from the truth of the audience. As we've always done. So we're ready.
Yes.
All the entertainers are ready. And it's just for Louis Bennett, former Jamaica host Garden Theatre. Everybody knows him as Randy Williams. So it will be boiling and having a wonderful time. Come 5 o'clock tomorrow, meet and greet, and then 6 o'clock on the dot, we go.
6 o'clock on the dot. That sounds like you're not playing with the time at all.
It's Sunday evening, and people are work tomorrow, this Monday morning, so they want to do it.
And what can we expect, Frankie Campbell, in terms of the show itself? Any collabs on the spot? Collaboration? Hello?
Hear me now?
Hearing you now.
Okay, well, I've been working with sometimes from day one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, man, when I started way back when we was when we was at grammar school, 45 years ago. So we've been working with outside, we've been working with training in person, but all everybody's on his own on stage. There, certainly us. So of course, collaborating there, it was spontaneous, and the team plays up there, and Nazima, and of course, this one, it's a great package. It's entertaining. We're looking at people who can entertain it's good music. Because we find that the younger generation are not just in great music nowadays, nor great lyrics. And we are very disappointed, generally speaking. So we want to keep this power very high. And Roy has been doing that all the years. He's representing some of the original material that's not as well known, but very exciting, very, very exciting. Roy has some really great stuff. And he's bring back a lot of memories, not just a festival song, but some great songs that he did play back and when you one.
I want to talk about that. One moment, please. Let's just take this break and come back.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
15 minutes to 8 o'clock in the morning here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it's 4:46 a.m. in Anchorage, Alaska.
How much do you know about spices and the impact they have on your everyday life? Join us every first and third Thursday during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie at 6:18 a.m. for Spice of Jamaica. We'll give you tips, tidbits, and interviews about the revitalization and sustainability of the Jamaican spices, including ginger, turmeric, and pimento. That's Spice of Jamaica every first and third Thursday at 6:18 a.m. during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM. Spice of Jamaica is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture Food for Progress Jamaica Spices Project.
Wherever you go, in tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go, shine.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on the Jamaican Diaspora live online on Power 106 FM, getting you ready for tomorrow evening's big show happening and involving the one and only Roy Rayon, live in concert with friends, and as they dub it, 65-45, and that in terms of years of birth and years of service. That's my interpretation. I hope I got it right. And it's happening at the Randy Williams Entertainment Center. There's a meet and greet. And then showtime is at 6 o'clock in the evening. And I think going to the break, thank you for holding the line, Frankie Campbell. Going to the break, I think you were just about to give us a little more information on the musical prowess of Roy Rayon. So,
yeah, man, like I was saying, a lot of people tend to think that Roy is just a physical singer. But Roy has produced, and Roy produced a lot of great songs that are not in that idiom. And tomorrow evening night, you will hear Roy doing a lot of really great and exciting songs that probably a lot of people have not heard. Apart from, of course, the old favorite, which of course the happy beginning. So Roy has a really great package. But I'm stressing Roy because we will highlight Roy tomorrow, of course. Although he has been trade and a lot of us outside and Germany for the show. It's Roy's show and Roy's style, and we're certainly making Roy, putting Roy in that position tomorrow. And he's the close to the show that's very, very high note for us. And it encourages everyone to come out and really enjoy the show, and especially Roy's night tomorrow. Let's celebrate Roy. Roy, as you all know, Roy is a great performer. I remember a couple of years when Roy won every prize, every performance prize. A lot of people used to get in those days. But I don't understand why they used to get, because just Roy is a great performer. And he worked on it, costume and everything. Usually it was so on point. Nobody compares to Roy in those days. And even now,
Yeah.
You know, he
Still delivering.
Yeah, man. And, you know, he thinks about everything. My coach is on the way. For performing and, you know, project. I never see things where, you know, so, you know, it's really interesting, you know. A lot of new performers, you just put on something and come and see that. You don't
Yes.
really plan.
Mm-hmm.
But right here is really, really, really excellent that way. You know, and also some go in the music and you know, it does everything one total package. I was on that big up so much now. I'm wondering this show you're talking about. But you too, Dervan. By the time you know you've been around,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you see that. And we don't have that. I'm not general. I'm not saying towards every last person, young person, but generally speaking, we don't have that kind of level of performance anymore. And we are trying to afford that standard, you know, so Jamaica can still get that level. You know, and so it's excitement, a lot of excitement tomorrow night. What a great performance. And we have to know that team is back on the program. Up to team is Harris for the leadership. That's what it is. And a great guy, and we really have to have this tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, another festival winner, and an exciting younger performer. And of course, this one. We got another festival. Oh yes, another festival winner too, yes. So actually we have 3 festival winners tomorrow night. And of course top 5 who we have played on more festival winning songs than any other aggregation. We have played on 10 festival winning songs.
It's time to write the book now.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I should have started, you know, started.
Okay.
And, I don't know where we started, but hopefully it's no time because it's really neat to have something cultural in not just Jamaica and reggae music from Bob Marley right through. I used to back up Bob Marley. We produced Bob Marley's first million seller. That was in fact done by Johnny Nash. You know, as a songwriter, Bob Marley as a songwriter. You know, with the Spirit Up and Go Over with Johnny Nash. Our international hits before Bob Marley, you know, themselves. So we have been around, and of course, festival. You know, we produced and wrote great festival songs for Eric and for Roy, especially, and other people. So it's true. And tomorrow night, you will a lot of people that experience that. So we start sound of stuff like that of Roy with the winning songs that we in fact recorded. So from that point of view, it's an exciting evening. And of course, Papa is Papa, and we are part of that show. Perform.
Absolutely. Well, we are sure it's going to be an outstanding production. We're happy to be able to spread the word across Jamaica and the diaspora. And we want to encourage as many persons as possible to turn out at Ranny Williams Entertainment Center. Meet and greet at 5, showtime at 6 p.m. And let's
and just before you go, Dervan,
yes.
It's actually Louis and the other side, which is a bit more intimate, not a bit more, a lot more intimate.
Yes.
You know, and that's in fact that's where we are. And it's quite comfortable around there. We're not expecting 1,000 first, because you know, we're looking at a nice people at 500, you know, so let's all come out and enjoy ourselves. I don't let anybody try and overnight, but you are. Make sure you're there tomorrow night.
Okay, sir. Thank
only
you.
$5,000, only $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Tickets are available at the gate. So you can pick up a ticket and visit my today past 5 8Q. But if not, there are a lot of tickets at the gate tomorrow, so let's come on down.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye. So we were speaking there with Frankie Campbell and, of course, Roy Rayon. as he continues preparations for Roy Ryan live in concert with friends, 6545, happening tomorrow, Sunday, the 14th of July, 2024, Ranny Williams Entertainment Center. Part proceeds in aid of Jamaica Music Museum, acquisition of musical artifacts, contribution $5,000. Tickets available at Music Mart, and it's going to be special, I'm sure. Wonderful. So we continue with more on the Jamaican Diaspora live online on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And we are going to stand by to bring to the fore more guests here on the Jamaican Diaspora live online. First of all, let's say good morning to Peter Gracie for curating this segment of the Jamaican Diaspora live online. The Peter Gracie of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. He's the representative for the Southern United States. And we are happy to be featuring our guests this morning. We're going to be hearing from Nancy Fung, the CEO of Women's Medical Center. And she'll be sharing with us on the subject of Hurricane Beryl relief for St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. And we'll also have Lorraine J. Smith, the CEO of the Lorraine J. Smith Foundation. And almost there. You're listening to the Jamaican Diaspora live online on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and we're standing by to make the connection with our guests waiting in the wings, and we thank them for their patience and understanding as we try our best to get everybody on board. Hello to Angela in Toronto, Canada. She says, good morning, Frankie. See you at Jambana in August. Kwame Sabbath Gordon is greeting us as well. Good morning, Kwame Sabbath Gordon. Marlon Hill says, the sun has risen and the music is sweet, makes you want to recover. And recover, got you. And rebuild with your dancing feet. Hashtag Best Strong. Hashtag Clarendon Strong. And I'm sure you got the message by now. Inez Ayona Campbell says, good morning, Mr. Dervan, viewers and listeners. A very rainy morning it is. Oh, really? Where are you again, Miss Inez? Where are you again? Let's see. Somewhere in Bridgeport, Connecticut, I believe. Andrea Jackson says, good morning, Dervan. I'm in Jamaica for vacation Bible school and vacation. I appreciated your interview on your show recently, and I'm available to share on your program again. Thanks. Well, thank you very much. And we look forward to hosting you again. And let's see who else is online. Jeannie Chambers, good morning to you. Welcome. And Inez Iona Campbell says, yes, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Thank you very much. And let's get the ball a rolling right after this break.
You're 106 FM. The time is now
8 o'clock in the morning here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it's 4 p.m. in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Learn to budget. Once you've read a few personal finance books, you will understand two rules. Never let your expenses exceed your income and watch where your money goes. The best way to do this is by budgeting and creating a personal spending plan to track the money coming in and going out. Tracking expenses can provide a valuable wake-up call. Small changes in your everyday expenses are under your control and can impact your financial situation. Keeping monthly expenses like rent as low as possible can save you money over time and put you in a position to invest in your own home sooner than later.
Wherever you go, shine. In tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go, shine. You need to know.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and we salute Peter Gracie and the members of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, in particular representative for the Southern USA, which is Peter Gracie, of course. And we are going to be touching on the topic of Hurricane Beryl relief, St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. And we're going to get more information from the CEO of Sunshine Women's Medical Center, Nancy Fong. Good morning to you, Nancy Fong. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Malcolm, and thanks for having us again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for agreeing to join us once again on the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online. Let's also say hello and welcome to the CEO of Lorraine J. Smith Foundation. Lorraine J. Smith, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dervan. I'm doing very well, fine, thank you. And thank you for having us again this morning.
It's a pleasure to have you on board. Thank you very much. So which of you has a connection to St. Elizabeth?
I can say none of us do. Maybe I'll say the reason why. We all saw the nervously watched when the hurricane impacted Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, my Mr. Gracie reached out to me as I'm part of the diaspora. I'm actually the diaspora representative in Georgia. And so as the president of the Lorraine J. Smith Foundation, our mission is really to provide supports to individuals and community and to create projects and initiatives to improve lives. Just a summary of our mission. And so we just, as a foundation, I decided as the president, along with my board members, to just go ahead and donate 1 million Jamaican dollars to provide, some support to Jamaica, our Jamaica. And so when we decided to do that, we came together as a group. Miss Nancy Fong Edwards was a part of that initial discussion, and I think within half an hour, we came up with a program. Most of us in healthcare and mental health, and we are accustomed to case managing. And within half an hour, we just created a program, and the program looks just like this. we're going to provide, I believe, as myself as the main sponsor with $1 million Jamaican dollars coming into Jamaica. I'm not the only sponsor. There's quite a few other sponsors, and I think other sponsors are kind of being, stimulated to kind of come on board. We will be having school books. The $1 million will go directly to provide school supplies in the form of anything that it looked like that a student will need to go back to school. It will also provide vouchers through local bookstore in St. Elizabeth. So if they don't get the school supplies on ground, they can go there and get a voucher that they can, select what kind of maybe textbook and things of that nature that they can get for school to be ready for school. The notion is that because of the impact of the hurricane, folks are now going to have to maybe use that money that they would prepare for school and to maybe repair, or they may have used it when they had to kind of buy a lot of food items or other items to prepare for the hurricane. So that's really why the foundation just came up and made this huge donation. The foundation had also collaborated previously with the Fire Brigade, the entire Fire Brigade in Jamaica. We have adopted the Fire Brigade, and as the licensed professional counselor, I have been providing counseling to the Jamaica Fire Brigade, through the different parishes. So the Jamaica Fire Brigade is also a part of this benefit event as well.
Mhm. And I think I had interviewed you some time ago about your medical center, correct?
No, I'm not a medical center. I have. That was me. That was Nancy. I do have a company that serves over 200, almost 200 people in the state of New Jersey. But sometimes you speak into being there. There is soon to be a medical center in Georgia. So yes, Nancy currently have the medical center, and she'll speak in regards to what her medical center will be providing at this event.
Mhm. And can you give us some more on your foundation, Lorraine J. Smith, in terms of?
Absolutely.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, absolutely, Dervan. So our foundation, the mission of the foundation is really to enhance the quality of life for individuals and community through education support. So you see quite well how it fits in.
Yes.
Community-based projects. So we're able to create our own projects and mental health initiatives. Because I'm a mental health professional, I work in Jamaica, I teach in Jamaica, and so I have firsthand on ground what it looks like, the needs, what they look like, and especially when it comes to our children, our young adults, and of course our adults. And so the foundation is positioned to really kind of respond. It is a new foundation, and it is titled Lorraine J. Smith. The J is for Jacqueline. Just because growing up in Jamaica, I saw the needs, and so working hard through the last 10 years with the company, my baby company, Solutions for You. Solutions for You is the resource that has been the provision so the foundation can donate and will continue to donate to Jamaica. And of course, other islands that we may see fit that join in with this mission.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the hurricane beryl relief efforts, what has that been like? I mean, have you been directly involved, or you perhaps made your contribution and continued with other work?
Yes. So the donation is directly. We are directly in responding to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very hands-on, so I will be in Jamaica with this benefits event. Alongside of that, I constantly, every day I have personal conversation with the fire brigade because, of course, we know they are first responders. So I'm having conversation to kind of know what it looks like on ground. I have other conversations with my students and other professionals that work there. I haven't physically been in Jamaica since the hurricane, but I will be there soon to kind of see firsthand. So I have firsthand information from my my resources there. The donation that we're doing will directly, every single cent will go directly to those who are hard hit. And I'm thinking as we look, I continue to see the pictures coming out of St. Elizabeth and the other parts of the island, because we as a foundation, I believe we'll be able to kind of respond and help other parishes as well. So we're going to kind of spread this across other parishes for our students so that they're well prepared to go back to school, not just physically, but also emotionally. Because I work on ground in Jamaica with counseling psychology students at the master's level, or students from the Caribbean Graduate School of Theology are actually able to kind of help us, whoever is out there and kind of may have been emotionally traumatized, by this event, we're able to provide those kind of counseling services to them as well.
How's that going?
It has been going well. We're sending out the information to let them know that we're here. We're able to provide those resources, and it has been going well. We have had the response going well so far.
And in terms of collaborations, any indication of others who see an opportunity to get on board, or that's not going to happen?
Absolutely. So, for example, Miss Nancy Fong, she's my colleague. She is here from Sunshine Medical Women's Center in Montego Bay. She'll be a part of that, along with the grocery list. Jamaica, of course, I mentioned the Fire Brigade, and the Fire Brigade covers, I think, 4 parishes from Montego Bay, Hanover, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And we also have a few other entities that are coming on board. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. If I do, then I ask for forgiveness, but I do want to mention there's one other entity that I know that has come on board. And everyone has been really reaching out to us. Once they've seen the information going out there, they're reaching out to us and saying, I want to help. Our other entity is EHIAS Inc., Jamaica. I hope I don't mispronounce it. And they're also on board as well. I believe their founder is Cornell Bunting. And so I definitely want to just pay respect to everyone. We also have for entertainment Mr. German Edwards that certainly said to us, I will be whatever you want me to be. I will sing. We also have Miss Adriana Clark. And so we're not only having this resources that is going to be available in terms of the school supplies and the medical help that Miss Nancy will talk about further, but we'll also have this entertainment and refreshment. So it's very holistic in terms of what we will provide under the auspice of all these collaborative effort from every single entity that is on this benefit. I think we are Jamaicans, and we're showing up, and we're going to show that our love for Jamaica is still there.
And we like the fact that you've been paying attention to the sort of mental wellness of individuals in your approach. Is that in keeping with your duties, or an addition?
It is in keeping with my call in Dervan, I believe at the Diaspora conference, I was on stage at my presentation, and I
Hold on one moment. I want to hear that. One moment, please. We need to take a break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
15 minutes past 8 o'clock in the morning here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it's 6:15 a.m. in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Are roads a major concern? What about those drains that are in need of repair or cleaning? Who's responsible for repairing my road, and when will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll-free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692. Or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads.
In tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go, you shine.
Thanks for holding the line. Are you still with us, Lorraine?
Yes, I'm here, Dervan. Yes.
Great. So I was asking about mental wellness and related matters.
Yes, I believe Ms. Nancy Fong is no longer connected with us. If we can patch her back in.
Oh, didn't realize that. Okay, let's. Where our engineer is doing that work behind the scenes. So any moment now, that line should be back.
So back at the conference,
yes.
Mental health is actually my calling. It's my calling. It's what I do, as well as other areas that still go back to mental calling. But back at the conference, and I've been saying this for years, is that no longer can medical and mental health be separated in our lives, and they must be married. So when you look at the needs now in terms of Jamaica, we are going to see the medical surface as we provide all the resources. But when we look at supporting, whether it's for children or adults, when it comes to anything that has to do with this hurricane, we should be looking at the emotional. We have folks who lost their life, and their families are grieving. And then you had the children who are in the home witnessing and this peril and feeling all this unsurety. So I believe it's by doing the right thing and doing the thing that is right, that we look at the emotional wellness. And even after this event, we should always be looking at people's emotions. Because a lot of times, and Nancy can speak to this, when we work collaborative, when we do the collaboration in terms of the medical and the mental, and we see someone in our office, a lot of times the patient may come to me and is complaining of pain, and it's really not a physical pain. It is an emotional pain that's causing that physical pain. And the same thing, Nancy will see them in her office for this physical pain, and she has done everything, and they have done all the imaging, and she's realizing that this is not a physical pain. This is being caused by some this emotion that has not been, we haven't looked in this area, so we definitely want to marry these two together, the medical and the mental. And if we do that, then we will have a better life. And if we have a better life, we will have a better country. You know, we talk about our wealth being growing, but we also want to talk about our health. If you have wealth and you don't have health, then you still don't have anything. You know, a country that has health and wealth, then we have everything in place. So we do want to focus on the medical and the mental part of it.
And how significant an issue is it? Mental wellness is it catching on? Is it growing? Is it falling? What can you tell us, Nancy Fong? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. So I believe that the mental health is catching on in Jamaica. As you know, in December we had an event, a mental health day on Boxing Day, and I was surprised by the amount of people who turn out on a holiday to seek mental health. So it is catching on. There is a need for it. People are embracing it, and as Lorraine said, it's something that we have to merge, because a lot of the issues that people are going through is not physical. It's emotional and it's mental. And once we can fix that, or even work on it or acknowledge it, so that the patients can acknowledge what's going on with them, they will have a better quality of life. It is catching on, and people are out there and they're seeking the help. So even though I came to Jamaica trying to help women and preventing cervical cancer, I've now merged into the mental health. And I'm so happy that we're able to collaborate with Lorraine on this event so that we can continue to do this work.
And in terms of the health ministry, for example, have you been in touch with the health ministry to sort of match notes?
Officially, no, but those are some things that's in the planning, you know, so we can get data and more resources. Because one of the things we ran into in December was there was a lot of people coming to seek help for alcohol abuse and drug abuse, and the resources were limited as to where to direct these individuals. So those are some things we're putting together for our next event to make sure. So we are working on collaborating with the Ministry of Health to get this information. So even if we can't fix the issue that the particular individual is going through right now, we have resources and places where we can direct them.
Based on your work collectively, have you been able to detect any shortfalls that it might be instructive to pay attention to?
Absolutely. I think one of the shortfalls that we face in Jamaica, and not just Jamaica, globally, is education. Educating patients or individual people on a whole as to what mental health really is, or even, you know, how to properly care for themselves health-wise is an issue, because people can't fix a problem if they don't know they have one.
Yeah.
You know, for example, you know, like Lorraine mentioned, they come in and they're complaining of this tremendous pain, and we do everything, we do all the tests. They're not thinking that this could be mental. Stomach pain is one of those pain that is very common with mental health and depression. And people would come in and complain a lot about these things, but they don't understand the correlation between your mental health and your digestive system. So education is a big thing, and I'm all about education, and we have to educate the population, find some way to get it out there so people can understand how to properly care for themselves and how to seek the services, you know, to care for themselves. But it has been a big stigma, as you know, for years.
Yes.
With mental health in Jamaica. And we have to try to break that barrier.
everybody has suffered some way, form, or shape of some kind of mental health. It is not a crazy thing. We have to teach people that this is normal.
Yeah, it's not a crime. Goodness.
It's not. We have to let them know it's okay to ask for help. It is okay if we don't feel well. It is okay. Nobody's gonna call you crazy. And we have to break down that barrier. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do, to break that barrier. So that they can be open to learn and understand what mental health is and how to seek the proper care.
Yes.
I also can give an extension to that.
Sure.
The stigma is decreasing and the barriers coming down, but there are no resources. There are no resources, and I can really attest to that because I teach I'm part of the higher education piece where we teach prepare students to become counseling psychologists. But then there are no resources available for someone that says, yes, I recognize that there's an issue and now I'm ready to address it. So, for example, folks who may not have the wherewithal in terms of insurance, medical insurance, or even if they have insurance, is it that the insurance may pay for it? Because you cannot, to pay $6,000, in Jamaican dollars out of your pocket for a session. And when you start a session, you cannot stop, because if you stop, then
You defeat the purpose.
it defeats the purpose. Because I always explain, when you start to attend to emotional wellness, it's like oil and water. The oil are the issues, and it's going to come to the surface. So you really want to address it until that healing happens. So really having the resources available to address the issues. And another situation is the crisis. You have individuals that go into crisis at certain moments because mental health exists. There are serious mental health issues in Jamaica, but there are no crisis center. We do have hospitals. For example, the University Hospital has a unit. But when we're talking about crisis center, we're talking about in the middle of the night, someone's, have an episode. And Nancy and I know what that looks like. What needs to happen is you need to have a system, an emergency response system that is able to address that. And because we don't, we'll see a loss of life, whether it's the person's life or someone who don't even belong in that situation, that you have a loss of life. So there's a lot that needs to be done. I can say we are on the road, but we have so much that needs to be done. So I hope out of this benefit and out of our collaboration, Nancy and I are going to work together in the future, I know, because we have great conversations and we want to come up with something that makes this better.
Mm-hmm.
Better for the future, better for today. We're going to start for today, and then we go to tomorrow. But better so that individuals who are having emotional and mental health issue, it can be addressed, and it can be addressed immediately. It's not because if we look at a wound, when you do not address a wound, what happens? It becomes infested, it becomes gangrene, and you have to cut it off. When you have an emotional situation that is not addressed, what happens? You have suicide, and then you also have homicidal thoughts as well, and then you have the homicidal acts. So we want to prevent these things from happening. Mm-hmm. So outside of the event, we're going to be sounding an alarm when it comes to emotional wellness.
Yes.
And to add to that,
sure.
Being at the Diaspora conference last month, I've learned and I've came across quite a few organizations that does provide some sort of mental health. For example, there's the children advocacy group. It's called OCA. They're there and they're available 24 hours a day for children who may be facing sexual abuse at home. They have a hotline. The problem is that how are we getting this information out to the public? There's also a human trafficking department there that I gather the information, but these are things that I'm going to be put into place so we can utilize these resources. But like I said, there are some things in place, but the average individual do not know how to access this information. And we have to find a way to put it out there that people are aware of how they can get this information. I don't know if we need to utilize social media more, but we have to find a way to engage with the younger population, and whatever is it that they're using to get their information, we need to find a way to tap into that so that they can get this information and know it's available. One of the thing is, there is no alcohol center for people who wants to, well, at least not that we knew of back in December.
All right, one moment, please.
People.
Let's come back to that point right after the break, please.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs-controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
8:30 in the morning here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it's 1:30 p.m. in Bamako, Mali.
Tune in to Power 106 FM for the longest running religious calling program on Jamaican radio, The Prayer Line. Join Pastor Errol Hay and his team as they offer spiritual guidance and intercession grounded in biblical doctrine. Hear powerful testimonies from Jamaica and around the world. The Prayer Line, a source of support and inspiration in these trying times. That's The Prayer Line, Power 106 FM, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Join us.
We shall live to declare the works of God. Amen. We shall be a living testimony here on the Lord's side.
Wherever you go, shine. In tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go, shine.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on the Jamaican Diaspora live online on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. Online we have Lorraine Smith and Nancy Fung, and they are health professionals and playing their part in enhancing wellness in Jamaica and the diaspora. So we want to say a big thank you to them for their work in terms of the various areas covered so far, and no doubt there is more to come from other individuals who are a part of this experience. But certainly we have a great appreciation for the members of the team and the quality of the work that they've been putting in. And right, so let's just pick up the point though, where you, just before we took the break, when you were making reference to alcohol.
Yes.
That's Lorraine, right? Lorraine, you were making
No,
reference?
it's me, Nancy.
Oh, Nancy. Okay, sorry about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, can you just...
So I was saying...
Yes, go ahead, please.
I was saying that we had a lot of individuals that came to the office wanting to get help with alcohol abuse, and we had no resources. Even the physicians that worked with us in Montego Bay didn't know where to send these individuals to. So these are things that we're trying to work on, because it's a real issue, it's a real problem, and the fact that they came looking for, help, I think it's something that we have to address. So hopefully our goal after this health fair is to sound the alarm, as Lorraine said, and so we can find resources for our people. bring back, we can create a healthier Jamaica.
Yes.
Education is important, and we have to be able to educate our people what to look for, where to go, and what mental health is. Because if, like I said, if you don't know you have a problem, then you can't fix it.
True.
So that's our goal, in addition to what we're doing here for Hurricane Beryl and the students.
So can you sort of give us an insight into how much you have been able to do so far? I mean, it's early days yet, but how hopeful are you that change is on the way, so to speak?
I am very hopeful. I believe in change. I believe that, if we all do our little parts, we can create tremendous change in our people. We have to just start one person at a time. And I think the biggest part of creating this change is education. The stigma is breaking down. The barriers about mental health, they are coming down. People are more receptive. And I'm not sure if it's because of social media that they're more receptive of seeing other people, seeking help and getting help. I'm not sure exactly what is causing it, but I know that it is coming down. The stigma and the barriers are coming down. So we just want to give them that resource that they need. And I do believe that that's something that we can do. We can do it. We can make a very big impact. We may not be able to do everything, but we can at least guide people in the direction that they need to go. We may not be able to open up an alcohol center or anything like that, but we will be able to get the resources on the ground, connect with the Ministry of Health, and, find resources to send these individuals to so that they can get the help they need. I'm very hopeful. I'm a very optimistic person, and I'm pretty sure that we can make a great impact here.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Can I go back to the firefighters, please? How did that get going in terms of that particular initiative? Sorry, go ahead. Was that Lorraine?
Lorraine, yes.
Yes, Dervan. So, as someone who I'm a military family member. My daughter served in the Air Force here in the United States, and I've worked on the military unit, and I do see the need for members who serve, whether they serve in the police force, the army, or fire brigade. But I tend to see that the fire brigade is normally left to be last, even though they are a part of the first responders. And so I looked at that, and I also recognized that their needs when it comes to counseling is great, because they're rushing in, whether it's to fire or to a scene of an accident. They're either putting their lives on the line or they're witnessing a lot of trauma. And so because of that, and because I am a certified trauma professional, I offered my services. I offered and not to be paid. I offered in terms of, let me support you. Let me be this entity who provide the support for you, so I can come on board and maybe sit with you and see if there may be moments that you may be going very close to what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. Because a lot of times our service members across all the organization are being faced with PTSD, and they're carrying it, and they're just carrying it with them every day. But they're not able to address it. Why? Because, as we're saying, there may be not resources available, and maybe they don't want to speak to someone who's in uniform. And as I mentioned before, because I have that experience of working with service member with the military and all that, as a civilian, I understand folks sometimes do not want to speak to the person in the uniform. I'm not in the uniform, and so it's easier to talk to me. And so that's how it all started. And so I am a part of that. I'm there, and I've already provided some support in Kingston at the headquarters, and I've provided some support in Montego Bay. Right after the conference, the Diaspora conference, on that Thursday, I was at the Montego Bay. I spent 2 days there. What we're finding out that there are incidents where, of course, whenever folks go on scenes, they debrief, and so there may be times they just want to talk it out, and I'm a part of that conversation. You know, if there's counseling that needed, I'm there as well.
Mm-hmm. And that having been said, how has the members of the fire brigade team, how have they responded to your interest, your presence, your care?
So I can tell you the chaplaincy department has welcomed me on board. I can probably say I'm one of them. I may be inducted as a firefighter, a woman firefighter. I'm hoping that I will be. I know in some cases you can volunteer. I hope I can do that. I can be there. It has been warmly welcomed. And I'm seen as someone not just giving back, but someone who understands. Mm-hmm. I understand when you serve what it looks like. Mm-hmm. I understand when you serve as a first responder, what you may be going through when you go back to your family. And that's one of the things I talk about. When you go back to your family, what you kind of want to leave outside the door. And when you come to work, what you kind of want to leave outside the door. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because when I worked on a military unit, I saw, folks who came back from the war and what that did to them. That trauma, what it can do to you. It can actually separate you from your family and separate you from your emotions. And so I'm giving back to my fellow Jamaicans in a way that I just know how to. You know, my experience, my 30 years of experience, I am ready to come home and give back. And that's what I'm doing through my foundation.
Mm-hmm. And what can you tell us with respect to the community? And this question is for Nancy Fung, in terms of operating from within a particular community and doing so comfortably because of the sense of community that one feels in that space. Has that been your experience?
It has, for me. I've always it has always been a pleasure of mine to work in the low income population. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly where we are. The location in Montego Bay, that's the kind of people that we serve. And they're very welcoming. They're very appreciative of anything that we can do. And so for me, it is well received. Mm-hmm. You know, it is well received, and I couldn't ask for more. They're just very, it brings great joy to me to see them coming in and talking about how much they appreciate us being there, supporting the community, supporting the children, and doing the things that we do. So I feel right at home. Okay. Doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. I see. And for those who would like to perhaps get in touch or to learn more or to check out a facility, an option, a service, etc., where can they find your, pardon the expression, but this is an expression. Where can they find your particular outfit?
All right. So we are on Instagram, Sunshine Women's Medical. You know, we do a lot of updates there. Our phone number is 876-525-8563. We are currently in the process of transitioning from the location in Montego Bay that we are, and we're moving on to Ocherius. But we will still be serving the area. Okay. So they can always give us a call or they can reach out to us on Instagram, which a lot of people do, and see what we can do to help them. We also are trying to get into some of the clinics. The High Five adopted the Barrett Town clinic there in Montego Bay during our day of service at the Diaspora Conference. And, I'm working with one of the nurses there on their labor and delivery unit. Well, they don't have a labor and delivery unit, but they do some home births there. So we're working in that community. We're trying to work in the community so we can serve more people. So we're not just going to have a particular location for us, but we are trying to work with the different clinics, local clinics, and see how we can best provide services and, just provide support to these clinics so they can better serve the people. Because the mission is not just to have one location, but to see how our organization can provide service to the greater amount of people in Jamaica, which is the underserved areas.
Okay, hold it right there for a moment. This is the final break on today's edition of the Jamaican Diaspora live online on Power 106. Lorraine Smith and Nancy Fong are with us online, and we're going to take that final break right now.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
14 minutes to 9 o'clock in the morning here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it is 14 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon in Kyiv, Ukraine.
Are you looking for a powerful platform to promote your business in North America or the UK? Look no further than The Gleaner. Reach the diaspora and ignite brand awareness through our geo-targeted publications. Call 876-922-3400 or your Gleaner representative to explore the available options and book your ads. Or email us at advertising@gleanerjm.com. Actualize your brand's potential today with The Gleaner, where life unfolds.
Wherever you go, in tribute to Jamaicans in the diaspora, wherever you go, you shine. You make us proud. Despite our challenges at home, you never give up on us. Our sincere thanks. Wherever you go.
Definitely not giving up on us at all, considering even in the break a short while ago before the break, to hear you talk about moving from one to the other, just committed to the task. We really appreciate you and all the work that you and your team have been doing.
Thank you so much. You have to be committed. In order to get things done, you have to be committed. You cannot let just, one mishap. And that's the difference. That's the thing with us. And I can say that for Lorraine too. We don't make little things stop us. We keep going. There are always going to be obstacles, but we have to move past those because we have a mission, and our mission is to serve our people.
And so it should be.
And the love too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the love. I say this all the time. I left Jamaica, but I didn't leave Jamaica behind.
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah.
Very well put. Right. So you're not going to continue telling me all you're rolling out? You've had enough so far? No, I'm kidding.
No. So yes, I guess we can say we will be at the Black River Fire Brigade Station on August 9th. And we will start from 11 until 5 p.m. Come out and join us. If you have a child, if you have a grandchild, who needs some school books, school supplies, and you need your medical assessment to go back to school. If you see your child looking sad, if you're feeling sad because of everything in your life, not just the hurricane, come out and get some emotional wellness, we're going to call it, and then you can get some refreshments, and then you can also get some entertainment. So you're going to leave us feeling very, very different from when you started out your day. Come out and enjoy.
Energized and ready to go.
Ready to go.
Yes. We're hoping to give away at least 1,000. That's our mission here. It might be more. 1,000 book bags with school supplies.
Wow.
So we can alleviate some of the stress. Sunshine Women's Medical Center, we had that in place. That's something that I was working on doing. But then the hurricane came along and Peter says, let's do something. And I'm like, well, I'm already on track to do something. So let's get it together. And I feel Lorraine had something similar was happening too. So we just get together and make it one big thing.
And I think together it should be more than 1,000. I think 1 million Jamaican dollars will go a far way, Dervan. What do you think?
Absolutely.
It will be more than that, believe me, because it
will be more than that. That's a start.
That's a start.
More than that, yeah. So every little make a muckle, but this is more than a little. This is going to be a lot.
It's going to be. The Sunshine Women's Medical Center too. I am bringing a team with me, so I'm bringing a team of providers from the States here with me to come down and provide those medical services. So we're looking forward to have a wonderful day. Everybody wants to help. These people are coming on their own behalf just to help the Jamaican people. So we're looking forward to having a fantastic day of service and, to give love to our people and help let them forget about burial.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It will be in the rear view mirror. It will be a thing of the past, just like Gilbert. I was there when Gilbert, and it's just a memory. It's not an impact anymore. And that's when we talk about healing in emotional wellness, it's a memory. It's not an impact.
I like that. It's a memory, not an impact.
Yes, it's a memory, not an impact.
Yes. Well, so how do you deal with your mental health issues generally? Just your sense of mental wellness, I should say. How? I mean, who?
Nancy, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'll go. Well, you learn how to create happiness within yourself and find peace within yourself. For me,
sorry, go ahead.
You have to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to find peace within yourself and happiness within yourself. So when there are days when I'm not feeling great, we all have these days. But for me, music is therapy. I turn the music up and I start dancing and everything goes through the door. I don't remember anything. So that's the quickest way for me. Now I travel the world. I like to do things. I get involved into a lot of things. And one of the things for me that I like to do is travel. So when I get overwhelmed and I feel like I'm doing too much, I book a trip somewhere. Now, everybody can't do that. But what you can do is take your bag and go to the beach and spend a day and enjoy nature, enjoy the beautiful scenes. Those are the things that I do to alleviate my stress. But music is always a good way. It's quick, it's easy, and trust me, you can find music everywhere.
Absolutely.
So that's how I work on my mental health.
Sounds good.
And as for me, Dervan, I'll add on to that. Music, dance. I love to dance. I do horseback riding. I also cook. But as Nancy said, the one thing is that I also fly. But I take flying to a different level. I love to fly to the part where I went and became a flight attendant.
Okay.
And so for me, the joy of just sitting on that plane, it brings me to a different level. I'm out of my office. I'm just in my zone. And wherever I'm going, I'm there. One of the things we talk about, happiness is something you got to create for yourself.
Yes.
So I have a podcast called Bring Your Own Happiness. That's how serious I am about happiness. I'm teaching others how to create their own happiness and bring it with you wherever you go. And when you bring it, you're able to light up the world. I do thank you for asking that question because it's so important. A lot of people, and I say this, when you travel, you see so many people out there that are so not happy. They're just going about their business, but they're not happy. Create your own happiness by the things that you love to do. And just enjoy life. It's one life to live, and that life is very short. Just live.
Very well put. I don't think we can better that. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Another very important thing too is to surround yourself with people who are at peace. Your company has a lot to do with your mental health. Try to stay around positive people, people who are going to uplift you. and people who are going to be able to, put a smile on your face. I mean, it can't happen all the time, but just try to surround yourself with those people, because people do drain your energy, and you have to be able to identify that and know that today is not the day. You just have to set self boundaries. No, you have to set boundaries. Because if somebody called me 7 o'clock in the morning and I know that this person, all they do is complaining, I will not answer my phone. Now that is a boundary I've set for myself, because you're not going to take me in the rabbit hole with you today. I'm not ready for that. So we have to surround ourselves with, be mindful of the people that we have in our surroundings.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I
Well,
second that.
all right. Well, this has been quite comprehensive and quite a learning experience as well. And we look forward to more.
Thank you for having us. It's always a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you too, Dervan. And I guess we'll look forward. We have another few weeks. We probably will come back and refresh everyone's memory for the event on August 9th at the Black River Fire Brigade Fire Station, where we will be having resources for you and your little ones or your big ones, whether it's what we call it, kindergarten, primary, and high school. And maybe if you're going to college, I don't know, you might need some help too. Come out, because I believe education is the way out of poverty. Education is the way out of that hole. And so we're here to serve, in terms of the resources, all of the resources we mentioned.
Yes.
And for you to walk away feeling happy too as well.
Well, I do. Thank you very much. Lorraine Smith, Nancy Fung. Who am I forgetting? That's it.
That's it. That's it.
Thank you all so much. It's been really quite pleasurable to sit and listen and think and relax a bit as well. Thank you, ladies. Really appreciate you. And if in terms of communication, keeping the lines open, I see info@thisisjamaica.org. That's towards the hurricane relief in St. Elizabeth. And there is also a Zelle as well. So you can, I see Peter Gracie's on top of it. So information is there for those who would like to make their contribution going forward, so that those who are in need will get the assistance that they need. Right? So we thank all those who have contributed and are contributing and playing their part. We've been playing our part, and we look forward to continuing. In the meantime, thank you all so much, everybody, and please have a restful, safe, and a peaceful weekend.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dervan.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And so we thank our program assistant on duty, Celise Pinnock, and thanks to Shandell Forbes as well. And thanks to all our guests who took the time to get up early enough to be a part of today's edition of the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online. Thanks to our listeners, our viewers all over the globe for making it the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online. All things being well, the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online returns next Saturday. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm wishing everybody a peaceful and safe weekend. Take care.
Anything you want to be. Shy. Oh,
Sky.
Thank you for joining the Jamaican Diaspora Live Online with Dervan Malcolm, only on Power 106 FM.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
9 o'clock.
Just great music on 106 FM.